Hey, folks, it's Lindsey Hudson with SPS back in the building, and it's the return of the return of the SPS Edge Show with my guys, Terry McCord Jr. and Coach Orlando Watkins. But I also got to say, Coach Terry McCord Jr., too, give you your accolades, coaching over there at Eastern, getting it together. But so good to be back with you guys, man. We've been off for about 2 months. I guess we took our big-time vacation, and got a little break. And now we're back at it, and it is a fun time to be back. We're getting ready to get some things started. I want to thank everybody who's been saying, hey, they're looking forward to the show being back. I'm just happy to be back with you guys. But I got to check in with you, Orlando. You just touched down, just jumped off the private jet, just got back from Vegas. You had a fun-filled anniversary week and all that stuff, man. Welcome back. How was your trip?
Oh, fantastic. Like I said, we squoze in 2 weeks into 4 days. I'm still recovering.
2 weeks into 4 days. Ooh,
2 weeks into 4 days.
Vegas is the place to do. I know we talked about some cool spot. I wasn't able to get to Circa, but you told me about this new sports book hotel, Circa, that everybody's been talking about. How cool was that?
It's absolutely phenomenal. Just a huge place. It's a sports bettor's paradise. Wow. Almost like stadium seating.
Yeah.
Any game imaginable that can be on, it's on, and you can just sit down and bet your heart away and watch every single sporting event around the world.
Okay. Yeah, I was told about that when I was out there a couple months ago, but that's gonna be another stop. So we'll definitely talk about that. Terry, how you doing, man? It's good to have you back too. What's going on?
I've been doing well. I'm excited to be back. The break was great, but I still miss coming on here every Thursday. It was like a muscle memory. Like I get my notes together and get ready for Thursday. And it was a good break, but I'm glad to be back. It's been cool getting back into schools, just preparing. I'm in school still right now, and then preparing for the girls' season coming up. We had a good summer. We were able to lock in and get some good stuff to come into the season with. And I'm just excited to be back. I'm smiling already. I'm just glad to be back.
No, you should be, man. Happily so. For me, I think the biggest challenge of being away is that, and it was kind of cool. You would see something in sporting news, you're like, man, we will be talking about that on the show. You like we would definitely be going into that. But for me though, it was double edged in the sense that, it's good to have that, but that break for me, I guess, was a refresher, man. For a minute, and not that I really, really got a break because Moneyball was going on. Terry, you came and blessed us up there. Orlando, you had some great things going on down in the city. Shout out to you and what you did with girls basketball this summer in Detroit with the help of Chocolate Milk. Shout out to them. But there's a lot of great stuff going on. She can hoop. That's right, man. You put something amazing together, and I'm sure people are going to see the benefit of that. So with that being said, man, I found it interesting. We have a lot of strong women leading the way in just our general sportscast. I think it's a lot to be said and it's noteworthy. And we'll start out with Serena the GOAT. At first, I started with a question mark, man, but it got to be an exclamation mark because Serena is putting it down, man. Shout out to Serena Williams and what she's been doing. GOAT talk for real. She's had so many people and still has people coming out. It's like a celebrity star-studded event with everybody coming to see her in her final matches and what's taking place, and it's just awesome. I mean, whether we talk about Tiger Woods giving her props or whatnot, Mike Tyson being in the building, Dionne Warwick, whoever it is, everybody's happy to see that. I'll start with you, Orlando. What is it like, seeing, this experience? Moni Williams, welcome back. Serena Williams, our GOAT, no doubt. What is it like, this phenomenon of Serena Williams? I'm asking you if you can share from the perspective of when she first came to your attention, however many years ago, you being a proponent for girls sports in particular with your great family. Shout out to Kyra, KJ Jefferson, as well as all the coaching do. But just talk about what this experience has been like, you and observing Serena Williams as well as her sister as she's culminating her career right now.
It's been an absolute incredible journey to follow. There is no question. The question mark should be removed. She is the GOAT. You figure over her lifetime, her career, over $95 million earned, the most in tennis. 73 career titles. It's incredible, and she's still at it. She still has some gas left in the tank. Some more to give to the public. I'm just in awe, as we all should be, in awe of greatness, and that's what she is. It's just absolutely in awe of greatness. And the thing that bothers me, and us being a podcast out of Michigan, it's never really spoken about. She was born in Saginaw. I think it's that Michigan.
Yep.
It's that Michigan in her.
Is that Michigan in there later foundation? Oh,
Yeah.
That's it.
I like that. Shout out again to Moni Williams. She does give us the welcome back, fellas. Miss y'all. Looking forward to tonight's show. Yeah, we miss you as well. We were just talking offline about just not being on, but I think it was a healthy break, and it just may be part of what we do. Of course, I was involved with the Moneyball program, was the reason why it just seemed like it was best, because it would have been a conflict on Thursday. So with that, you're absolutely right, man. Shout out to her. Also, Terry, when we talk about Serena Williams, it hasn't been a career without controversy. I don't mean off the court controversy as in negative things happen, although they did lose their sister, several years ago. But, Serena was known for bringing it to the officials. You talk about the cat suit controversy, when she went over to Europe to play and she had the full bodysuit on and they just could not handle how voluptuous her body was. I mean, it was just something major. It was just a whole lot for people to deal with. And then this visual we see right now is a very, good caption of what her career has been like. It's been exciting. It's been thrilling. It's been powerful. So talk about what your experience with Serena Williams has been like, watching her as well.
I mean, Serena, I think this like last event for her is kind of like the last dance to me. A lot of like Tiger Woods, Chris Paul, among others, saying that they're witnessing greatness. I think nowadays we're understanding that this will be the last time we will ever see her play. And so, and not to take it for granted. I mean, she pulled off the upset, but really wasn't an upset. I mean, I know she was seated lower, but I mean, I feel bad for all the top seeded players that are facing her, because she has the momentum. She's rolling. She's still Serena Williams. And I think she's favored to win now, just with everything that's going on. But I'm just really excited for her. Tennis has always been a sport for me. Like, I always feel like I'm still learning about the game. And one of the things that made her so different was that picture that you have where she's showing so much emotion. A lot of tennis players don't really show much emotion while playing. I mean, they do like a golf clap when they do well. There's a lot of shushing and not a lot of noise going on while stuff is being played.
Golf clap.
Like a little golf clap, So it's just very she's very enthusiastic. She's very passionate when she plays, and it just makes her so different because she cares so much, and she's not afraid to be who she is. And with her being a minority in a predominantly white sport, it's just really cool to see her embrace herself, embrace her skin, and play really well. I mean, she knew she was one of a kind, but we rarely see players embrace that and want that pressure and want that, and want those challenges that come with being a minority in the game.
Yeah, you make an excellent point. As we recognize our guy Aaron Mays, our brother Aaron Mays is shouting us out, saying what's up. Shout out to Aaron. I shouted him out earlier this week in the Monday Motivation. We appreciate Aaron. We got to get up with him. Normally he and I catch up during the football season down in Detroit, so I'm sure that's be coming. Just like Orlando did, Terry, you made an excellent point. Particularly, what stood out to me, along with other things, was the cultural impact. We really haven't just got right down to it. Is that this is a strong Black woman. To Orlando's point, originally born in Saginaw, Michigan. That's about as gritty as it get, with all due respect. Then to move to Compton. The sister got Saginaw in her. She got Compton in her, man. I mean, hey, I'm surprised she don't be crip walking on them like that. And I say that respectfully, but she definitely has embraced the culture. She's been authentically Black, and I say that as it relates to how she's presented, what she's been about, and to be at a point where all these greats can come out to honor her. I mean, we're talking about, like you say, Tiger Woods, the Mike Tysons, the Dionne Warwicks. It was just a star-studded event, and I think it's great how everybody showed out for her. So you kind of alluded to it, Terry. What do you see? You see us kind of counting the moments now that pretty much things are going to wrap up relatively soon. You think there's no expectation for her to win it all right now?
Oh, I think there is a little bit. I think seeding wise, and maybe odds may say something else, but I think for her, I hope she ends up on top. I just think it would be a great way to finish it off. I think she will. I think she still has it in the tank. I mean, the way that she's been playing in her sets and coming out on top against good seeded players, I mean, it just shows that she still has what it takes to win. And what better way to leave out on top? I'm sure that's in her mind, like I got to leave this game on top, because she's just an ultimate competitor, and it's just something that they always want to do. Like Tom Brady, I mean, people thought he was going to be gone after he won, but he wanted to come back, and so I just think that this would be a great way for her to end her career just coming out on top.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I had a feeling that I saw this comment pop up, and it didn't say a name, but I had a feeling it was going to be my mom checking in. Hey, Mom. She said, just checking in. Welcome back, guys. Good to see you. Oh, I'm not going to tell you the name. She called us on the text message. She said, my 3 sports amigos. So we the three sports amigos. Well, she said, we the new Migos with sports on and whatnot. Yeah. Who Ball of Scoop says, fellas, WNBA Playoffs been so good.
Really
man. Yeah,
good.
we're getting ready to talk about that
excellent.
right now.
Excellent.
Shout out to Who Ball of Scoop and what's going on. Yeah, and speaking of that, we'll transition right to the WNBA. We had our Las Vegas correspondent right there the whole time. We appreciate you, Orlando, for heading out to Vegas, and getting right behind the bench and talking about the WNBA playoffs. And we're going to talk about what Candace Parker's been doing too. But talk about your experience, Orlando, not just being in Vegas at the time, but talk about the energy around the WNBA playoffs. Talk about what it was like being in there, and just give us your thoughts, especially when you saw Candace put in that work like that.
I tell you what, just the whole experience itself. If it's one thing I know, Vegas knows how to throw a party, and a WNBA game doesn't change it. It's just the Aces have an excellent venue. It made me mad that we lost the shock here, and the opportunity. Both of these series are just incredible series to watch.
Remind me, what's the Aces venue? Where are they playing at?
Michelob Light.
Okay, and where is that in proximity to the Strip?
It's on the Strip, Mandalay Bay.
Mandalay Bay. Okay, so
Mandalay
right
Bay.
there. Okay,
right. Nice, smaller arena. Probably, I would have to say, probably the best fan base I've seen in any sporting venue I've been in.
Better than the Storm?
Well, I tell you what, it's neck and neck because they played the Storm, and and I was sitting behind the Storm bench. So they bring a contingent with them, but oh my God, the Vegas fans are just incredible.
You think sometimes it could just be the city of Vegas itself that it lends that, the people that say, hey, we'll jump on that, this Vegas bandwagon and what's going on.
Yeah, but if it's an empty one, they have to lead the attendance record this year because it gives people an opportunity, an affordable opportunity, that if they're in town to just check out a game.
I mean, how cool is that, to be able to be in Vegas with a number of things going on, and that's another part of it. I'm sure that's going to add to the desire, and I'm not to switch to the NBA about, the NBA, coming to Vegas as well. So you said it was a great experience all the way around?
All the way around. And I've been following this series and just even starting, let's start with Connecticut and Chicago. Candace Parker, incredible. I mean, 2 absolutely incredible performances.
We couldn't even get a chance to talk about the first one because she ended up putting the second one down like that.
Right. So you figure game 1, 19 points, 18 rebounds, 6 blocks, 5 assists, and 4 steals. Then she comes right back with 22 points, 4 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 3 assists. Just back to back, just totally unstoppable. Connecticut absolutely has their hands full. How they lost that first game is beyond me. Everyone else around her kind of let her down. You figure both teams shot under 40% that first game. So, I mean, for Connecticut to squeak out that win the first time was foreseeable, but it was just an all-out war. But, Chicago should take it all. And then, the Aces versus Storm, that was absolutely something phenomenal to watch. It was neck and neck the entire way. That first game, the Storm pulled it out by 3. And I think last night, and correct me if I'm wrong, Terry, I think the Aces pulled it out by 4.
About 5, yeah. 4 or 5, yeah.
4 or 5 last night, and it was just absolutely incredible. Asia Wilson did her thing. But the key for me is when you look at them, you look at the dominant players in that series of the Storm and the Aces with Breanna Stewart and Aja Wilson, and that's just a battle for the ages, just an absolute battle for the ages. You figure, both in that particular game, they're the first women in WNBA history to record 30+ points, 5+ rebounds, and then 5+ rebounds and then 3+ steals in a playoff game. I mean, they're putting up serious numbers. My question is, like right now, you've got the Steely veteran with Sue Bird, and she's running the offense, not a scoring factor at all. She had like 14 assists the first game, but not a scoring factor at all.
You think that was a change the defense had to make to kind of remove her from being an influencer like that? Or was that old man time catching up with her?
I think that may be old man time catching up with her, because she did not really looking at that game, especially the first and the second game. She wasn't looking to score. She was looking to feed and to run that offense.
Yeah.
But right, I mean, for me right now, I really think that the Storm, as good a team as they are, I think their time has passed. Tina Charles, I think, is struggling.
Yeah.
At this point, and really the Aces are just absolutely phenomenal. And the focus is on Aja Wilson, but oh my God, Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum are absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And I think that's where the Storm is going to fall off, because if Breanna Stewart has a bad game, they're done.
Right.
The Storm is done.
Right.
Aja Wilson has a bad game. You got Plum and Gray that could take up that slack. And then of course you got the most improved player in the league, with Jackie Young right there as well.
Yeah.
The Aces just have way too many pieces. I think really, they have everything there. I mean, if Becky Hammond, I think the adjustment for Becky would be really just how to shut down Breanna Stewart, and it's over.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is a tall task to do.
Yeah.
But once she figures that out, it's over. I think the Storm has done a good job of not letting the Aces get up and down the floor the way they want to. Because if they were to get up and down the floor and run the way they want to, it'd be a blowout every night. They've done an excellent job of kind of slowing that pace down. And just this is a series. This is probably the best series in basketball that I've watched, NBA, whatever, that I've seen in a long, long time. And anybody that's watching, if you're missing it, I think the next games are Sunday. Watch the game. It's an absolutely phenomenal series.
No, that's great, man. And it's important that as we talk about the WNBA and their branding, and that's something that's going to help them kind of get back into a space where people going to appreciate it. Shout out to Ron Charles. He said, Sue Bird, let's be real, she looked old out there. Yeah, that's why she wrapping up. She said, this is it.
That's but she was able to give him 14 assists that first game. I mean, she was moving that ball and feeding. So I mean, but yeah, it's both her and Tina Charles looked, just a step behind everybody else. And then, Kelsey Plum with going to the hole, absolutely phenomenal. And I have to say, Chelsea Gray, to me, is looking like a Harden out there. That strong guard.
Closer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Ron Charles also said Candace Parker leadership is amazing. So we're seeing that. Great recap. Terry, tell me what you're thinking. I know Orlando has really said a lot. He had the bird eyes view for one point up there as well. Also, let's say a prayer to go out to Cheryl Miller. She lost her father, Salle, the other. Yeah, I know. Who Ball a Scoop mentioned that as well. And fellow Cheryl Miller lost her father. We definitely want to send prayers out to the Miller family. Cheryl Miller being one of the pioneers, didn't get to experience the WNBA in that regard, but definitely want to send a prayer out to her as well. For you, Terry, what was that like, kind of checking in on the WNBA and what's been going on, especially with these playoffs?
I mean, it's been great basketball, like Orlando said, and I think, some of the keys, that I'm taking away from each series, I don't think the Sun are out of it completely. I think the Sky are a really great team. They're a great shooting team. Vandersloot and Quigley and Parker, they're really good along with Cooper. So I think that right now the Sky live and die with the three ball. The Sun play tremendous defense. I got to give them credit. Even though Candace Parker has played exceptionally well, I think that the Suns still provide a defensive approach because Brianna Jones, six woman of the year, just got awarded that today. She brings a force inside the paint. But I just think the sky will be too much for them. But I think the Sun do apply pressure. I do see the Sky sometimes struggle with ball handling and bring the ball up the court. The Sun are not afraid to bring that full court pressure and put pressure on their guards. I think if you try and speed up the Sky's guards, it can give them some trouble, but they have enough skill and enough pace to be able to get the ball in the post. And once you get in the post of CP3, it's about all she wrote. And so I think that series would probably be done in about 4. I do see them because it's best of 5. So I do think that one will end in a 3-1. That's just me. I don't think the Sun will get that much of a resistance. I just think the Sky are too much. But the Aces and the Storm, this one kind of had me torn. I think the Aces lost the first one. I don't think the Storm won it. Jewel Lord was exceptional. I mean, the way she closes games out. But she's been struggling. I mean, there have been games before the regular season ended where she hasn't scored. Like, she went on a stretch where she didn't make one field goal in so many games. And she's just been struggling. I think for the Storm to really compete in this series, I think that Jewel Lloyd has to be able to give that consistent approach. I mean, in game 1, she was their closer. I mean, she was hitting big shots after big shot to be able to keep her team going. And it wasn't just Brianna Stewart that game. And so if Tina Charles and Sue Bird can contribute something, it'll help them out, because a 5-point loss and all you have was Brianna Stewart, I think it shows that you guys have much to improve on, but you're still in good standings. But I think the Aces have figured out what it takes to win. I mean, Defensive Player of the Year, Asia Wilson, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray. I just think Chelsea Gray has found her spot on this team and is leading this team really well. I think she's their leader. I think she's their closer. I think her vocal ability and how she's been able to construct this team to work together, I think has been such a key. I think Becky Hammond has given her the keys, and I feel like she is definitely leading the charge. And it's somebody who I wasn't really aware of coming into this year until she kind of took off. That might be my bad. I feel bad that I didn't know about her until right now. And so I might be late to the game, call me a bandwagon, but she's a great player. She scores the ball well, and she's their ball handler. She's the one that dribbles the pace out. You see her controlling the tempo of the game in late game situations when they're up and trying to control the clock and win the game. So I got the Sky and Aces playing, and I'm an Aces fan. I love the Aces. I love Asia Wilson. I love that South Carolina blood. I love what she did with Coach Staley. So I've always been the Aces. I love when Kayla McBride was there. That was my team. And so I think they're going to pull it out again.
Yeah, shout out to Becky Hammond as well, getting those Coach of the Year accolades. And I don't think we're surprised with all the information she brought and knowledge she brought over there. Also, too, man, it's funny when we say the name Sue Bird and Tina Charles, we're starting to date ourselves, because we're also talking about, the passing of the mantle, man, where, this new generation of young people. And Terry, you kind of mentioned people that you weren't really aware of. I think that may be for a lot of people, but it's that next generation of WNBA players that are coming up. So I want to wish them the best. We're going to keep an eye on these playoffs, whatnot going forward. We don't have to take a break for sponsors, but for those who are listening, we are taking new sponsorship opportunities going forward. So you can always reach out to either of us to connect on that. But with that, we will transition. And right on time, Chris Terrell, appreciate you, says, free Brittany Griner. I'm losing hope that she will be free anytime soon. What's y'all thought? Wasn't Denver's Rodman going over there to help free her? Yeah, man, you right on time. As we make the transition, Chris, that's one of our, major things to discuss. And right, there was a buzz a few weeks ago about the potential of Dennis Rodman heading over to Russia to see what impact he can have. And I know a lot of people had different thoughts, but Orlando, I know you can relate to this with your past political experience or being aware. To me personally, I thought that could have had the potential of being a big thing. And the reason I say that is people may be quick to want to talk about Dennis Rodman, but what happens is somebody like Dennis Rodman gets out front, and then, then it becomes a discussion of, okay, the administration got to do something because they don't need the freak show Dennis Rodman to show them up. It could also mean, look, Dennis, fall back a little bit. We got something we're working on. But we really hope that, the double-edged sword is this. Before I just go right into saying free Brittany Griner, and I do want to say free Brittany Griner, but I think there's something to be said about going to another country and violating their laws. Now, I'm not coming off as no staunch, conservative, and people may say, "Oh, Lindsay, how can you say as a black man in America, or if it was Taylor Swift, or if it was LeBron James, whatever." But I think it's something to be said about that, man. But I just think that 9-year penalty. And then again, I had to catch myself, fellas, because I'm saying a 9-year penalty for having that substance, the CBD substance that she had. I'm looking at it through a United States viewpoint, the American eyes, if you will. And I think everybody else may be looking at things a little bit more differently. But with that being said, man, we'll see what happens with that. And then also, Mom says, but no buzz is good. USA working on the low. I can believe that. Because these times where it's not all about who gets the credit. It's about getting it done. Chris also says, can you imagine how our mental is? If she gets free, she will need a year off to recover. I think more than a year off. I think she's going to be emotionally scarred from this experience. So what we haven't heard is the day-to-day stories about what's going on. When she finally comes out, and let's say, hope that she comes home soon and she does these things, and she tells the day-to-day story that's going to be considered horrific and how she may have been treated in those things. Rodman changed his mind when he found out he couldn't take his herb. That's Terry McCord Sr. right there saying, hey, whatever it may be. I just think that what happened is that they probably went and said, look, Rodman, we appreciate that, but they walked him back a little bit because also, too, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to give up your diplomacy to Dennis Rodman, with all due respect. What do you think about that whole experience, Orlando?
But I know, did you guys get a chance to check out the comments from Gilbert Arenas?
No. What No Chill Gil said?
But I mean, I think he was giving an interview on Vlad TV, and he really gave an interesting angle to it, and really just pretty much stated that that she's more valuable to Russia because of her fan base in Russia. She's a bigger star in Russia than she is here.
Yeah, because there's even some talk about her potentially coaching that can impact her center or coaching over
there. Right. And then he's sort of expressing that he doesn't really even believe that the rest is the way it is. Is that she was set up, it was a trap because she's been over there, she's a big star over there, and that's something that's not being discussed. And that really the Russians were giving her and allowing her that. The vape oil or whatever it was. And then it was just sort of a trap. And then that he doesn't really believe that she's serving as hard a time as they're making it sound. Because she is that big of a star there.
Wow.
That's sort of an interesting angle.
And not to make light of what's going on with her experience and being incarcerated, but you're right. It's not like she was visiting and traveling abroad and she got caught in Russia. That's what she works at.
Right.
She's down there, so that's interesting that he brings it up. Terry, what's your take on the whole piece that's happening? Because this is one of those stories that broke before we took a break, but obviously the Dennis Rodman buzz came shortly after that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like how you were. I mean, I had to switch my vision to a Russia judicial system instead of an American one, and that's what's kind of helped me stay objective in it. Because I mean, there's both sides to it, but it's just I don't think it should have been that severe of a year sentence. But I mean, she did get caught, and as you said, it's one of those things where we're not saying that it's just, but we're saying that she did do it, and so that's why I'm kind of torn because I know it's in a mistake. We're human, we all make mistakes, but. I mean, what Gilbert's saying, that's a bold statement because, I mean, there's a lot of trauma in it. There's a lot of we don't know. And it's kind of hypothetical in a way because he's a big star. But I just wonder how her being in prison is really reacting to the Russian citizens. Because, I mean, she is a big star. That? Right. So how do they feel? I mean, are they – because, I mean, it's only so much you can do. There's only so much protesting and free speech you have in Russia. So,
but, if I could just add, Terry, you make a good point. It makes me say this. You wonder if it's reverse propaganda that's not even about America. It's about Russia. Okay, we're going to take somebody that you guys really care about, and we're going to, put it to her to maybe impact, how society is operating, to maybe influence people. They say, well, here, that's like LeBron James getting locked up for a speeding ticket, and everybody oh, man, what is going on,
Right. Yeah, and it's just, how do we move forward? And I think with the Dennis thing, I think what's so funny because I guess Dennis has a relationship with Kim Jong-un and all these kind of really weird and relationships that just work for him. I think, it's more of a sense of like when other countries who may not like the U.S. see Dennis, they don't see Dennis as pro-America, which I think was interesting that it was Dennis Rodman, because Dennis Rodman is an outlier here in America. He's not the typical American, stereotypical American. Right. And I feel like with him saying that, I thought it was interesting because I was like, maybe we may be onto something. Dennis does have a weird relationship with countries that don't like America, and I think part of that is because he's not a typical white, stereotypical pro-America guy. He's not. So I thought that was interesting, but I think what makes it even worse, though, and I think, the comment that was brought up too, her mental health. I can't help but think about it. I'm just sitting here torn because it's like,
can you even see her playing? Let's say she was released within the next 90 days. Yeah. Do you even see her playing next season?
I don't. I think she
needs and I guess she ain't gonna play for Russia no more.
No, she's not gonna play for Russia. One and two, I think spend time with your family. I think with your wife and spend time with your family. I mean, being away for that long in those kind of situations where the uncertainty is real and it's heavy and it's tough right now, I think the best thing she can do is take a year to 2 years off. But then she could come back and do the opposite. Like, I missed the game. Everything is only here once. Like, you only live once. Like, you can't take it for granted. I want to play. I don't know. I mean, it could be two sides to it.
I guess my question would be, is it possible we've seen the last basketball? We've seen Brittany Griner play her last basketball.
It could be possible.
Because if the sentence is anywhere close to being a third of the sentence, a quarter of the sentence, half the sentence, and the experience it has, will she be done? Before we even talk about that, shout out to Rod Wilson. Can I get a polo? Rod, we get you straight, baby. I know, baby. I know. We working on it. But very well, he said it could have been a trap. She was asked, rushed back to play over there. I don't believe she needs to go. But I also think that Russia's role in, dealing with what's happening in Ukraine as well. I mean, it becomes a geopolitical issue, with all kind of other things going on, man. But I just don't know. What's your take on her playing or not? I ask both of you. What do you think, Orlando?
I think it's very possible that she may never play again. And I just have to be realistic. I mean, this is her incarceration has a lot. It's much, much more than, her being caught with some vape oil. You can see the political implications all over the place. And I can't.
Are you talking about as well as the gender issues too?
In terms of just
okay.
This is strictly political. I think it serves a twofold purpose. I'm seeing right now that there's pundits on the right. I can't call out the podcaster's name, but now he's taking it to a point where he's actually attacking Kamala Harris and calling her a hypocrite for calling for the release of Brittany.
Because she was so tough on drugs. When
she was so tough on drugs in California. Now you're calling for her freedom, free everybody that ever got prosecuted in California.
Now I want to stay with that. Here's the twisty part. You say, is that a conservative pundit doing that? Because the question is, you wonder what the motives are. If it's a conservative pundit doing it, going after her, is it just to put egg in her face referring to Kamala Harris, or is it someone who's a true activist saying, this is not really consistent with what you've been talking about? It's almost like, what is the motive of why the person is saying it? So you saying, is this a conservative talking head that's saying that about her?
Yeah, I wish I could recall. He's like the top podcaster, and I cannot.
Okay. All right.
Like Joe Rogan?
Yeah, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
Okay. And Joe Rogan, for me, I don't know. At times I can't tell where he's coming from. But
Joe. Yeah.
But you know what? It's a mess
because it's coming from Joe Rogan. I just say it makes me say it's one of those opportunities to call people out, man. But it's amazing how this woman playing basketball has turned our show, even if it was for a few moments, into a political show, to where you try to you look at sports as being the antithesis of politics, if you will. It's all a meritocracy. It's based on who's the best, who comes in first, who scores the most amount of points. But just with this experience, we're getting this whole political thing going on, and I just don't know what the outcome is going to be. So Orlando says it's possible we haven't seen her play again, unless there's some secret magic going on behind closed doors. I don't know. And if she does come back to Terry's point, will she want to say, I want to just get back to basketball, or will she say, look, I done had enough? And then, with the WNBA pay, all these athletes, most cases, have to go overseas. So if she's able to go somewhere else, how will she even feel about leaving the country again?
Right, it's not stopping any other players. I mean, from me personally, if I saw that happen to Brittany, I'm not going overseas. It could possibly happen.
So you going to the bathroom and dumping everything down the toilet?
That's it. I'm not going overseas. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. But they are, because they have to make a living.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder if her having those oils on her was just part of course that because of celebrity status, it was overlooked. It was a non-thing that she was able to travel so, cavalierly, if you will, with that. I just wonder, man. We're going to continue to watch this and see what's going on with that being said. And I appreciate everybody's comments going in. So we'll just make the transition, man. We'll talk a little. We'll stay with the NBA. How about that? We'll make a switch. There was some breaking news, guys, over like the last hour or so. NBA. And that is Donovan Mitchell is now a Cleveland Cavalier. We couldn't get him in Detroit. We had a chance to draft him a long time ago, but I guess this is the closest he gonna get. What do you guys think about this? I don't know who else was involved with that trade, but that's huge. And I don't know what Utah is gonna get for it. I know it's like real breaking news, but can you guys imagine Donovan Mitchell, a Cleveland Cavalier?
I can imagine it for sure. I think the way I say for sure is because I feel like they had the best package available for him. They gave up their who they picked at 15, Abaji from Kansas, Lloyd Markkinen, and also Colin Sexton, who was a sign and trade. So they were going to sign Colin for 4 years, give him the max deal that he was hoping for with the Cavs. The Cavs didn't want to give it to him, so they do a sign and trade and pick up Donovan Mitchell's contract. I think it's a great decision for the Cavs because I feel like that's the best player and the best available upgrade for what you needed. They need a wing that can score the ball and shoot from the outside. I think Donovan Mitchell gives that to you, and now you have a young superstar who can work with Garland, Mobley, and Allen in the middle. So I think that they're a team that can compete together for a long time for the Eastern Conference, and is a lock, playoff lock for sure. Now I think they're a top 5 seed in there. I think the Hawks will give them some trouble. I don't think they're on the Bucks Celtics level yet. I think they'll give the Sixers some trouble. But this team is really young. They're making win now moves because they sent a lot of draft picks to the Jazz. But I think right now that the turnaround, I think the Cavs improve. I think the Jazz, they're in a tough spot right now. I know they got a bunch of draft picks. They got Colin Sexton, a good 3-and-D player with Abaji, and Markkinen has shown that he can shoot from the outside still well. They're in a tough spot. You just signed Gobert and Mitchell on max deals a couple years ago, like this past year and then the year before. You sign these guys long term, and then you blow it up the next couple of years. That's a hard turnaround. You just committed that. You committed your roster to that. You committed, your fan base was ready to commit to those two. They couldn't work it out, so they blew it up. But now you're relying on the draft. You're not going to be able to get guys in the free agency. You're still considered a small market. People don't like your fans, and now like you're still unsure about the coach. So it's like they're in a tough spot, and they're lucky to get Gobert, Mitchell, just like with Stockton and Malone. They were lucky to get guys. What Stockton and Malone were able to figure out a little bit, but more than Mitchell and Gobert. But it's really hard to find generational talent like a Mitchell and a Gobert in the draft. You're playing a hard game, but I guess they have a lot of chances with all these draft picks to try and land another generational talent. So I'm excited for the Cavs. The Jazz, Danny Ainge, I don't know. He did pull up the Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Maybe he knows something that we don't know, but I do think that this is a great move. But the Jazz, how do you come back from signing these guys long term and blowing up the next year? It's a hard move.
I agree with that. Shout out to Latasha Prince. Hey, y'all. Hey, Latasha, it's good to see you again. I know she had been traveling and enjoying her birthday not too long ago. Before I go to you, Orlando. We got somebody who wants some smoke. We got Pooh back in the building. She wants some smoke, y'all. She want to go back to some old stuff. She say on the show, June 16th, the NBA Finals is going into Game 6, and Terry the Celtics will win the 7. So put a cap on the NBA Finals because y'all broke after Game 5. And here she go. Remember, y'all was holding funerals, so go get that was. Why are you bringing up old stuff?
Why we in?
Pooh, we got all this new content. Pooh just wants some smoke.
We know Steph Curry's good. We get it. Okay.
You know what? We was gone. We left her. She said June 16th, Orlando. She went back on.
That's crazy.
That's fine.
Taking notes.
Okay. Yeah, well, we current now. We up on some new stuff, man. That's good. Oh, now look at it. Hoop Ball and Scoop jumping on too. Thanks, Pooh. Yeah, now Steph Curry got his final MVP. They've been waiting on this one.
Whatever.
Okay, all right. 3 titles now. Is he in your top 10 player ever? I think it's cemented. Pooh is on it. I love it. Okay, you know what? That's cool. That's cool, man. Dang, man. I didn't know it's gonna be like that.
I was wrong. My bad, yo.
Hey,
but just know more hot takes
fine.
Coming. So
that's fine. You know what? I appreciate it. I mean, they've been waiting on that for a long. He gave us the date, Orlando. She said June 16th. Hey, we love it. We appreciate y'all. So Orlando, what's your take? My only take on this trade, y'all better watch out when Colin Sexton come back to play Cleveland. He gonna light them up. Young Bull gonna light him up. That's how he plays. That's how he is. Y'all don't want to give me no max deal. Y'all want to sign me. Y'all thought it was better. You go get it. Just hearing about the trade in general, Orlando. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with Terry. I mean, for me, it's a nice upgrade, for Cleveland, but that's all it is. A nice upgrade. It's still got a long way to go.
Yeah,
a long way to go.
Well, speaking of the other things happening in the NBA, as you guys know, one of those other topics that came out while we were gone since June 16th, let Pooh tell it, is the trade that happened with our guy, Patrick Beverley, is now a Laker. And you know that these two guys have had a history of going back and forth. But, what Pooh say? But y'all left, so we got to put a cap on it. Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. We back, though, Pooh. I appreciate you. So, these guys got a history, and there's been some talk that, Westbrook won't even be on the team. But there's also things coming out, to this point. We're excited, and we're hungry to watch us work together. I mean, dude, those two can be monsters working together, man. If that comes together, then you got to add a new element, too, and that new coach, Darvin Ham, and what can he do to bring those in? I think Patrick Beverley feels that him going to the Lakers, short of him winning an NBA championship, him going to the Lakers is a level of validation. I haven't heard him say that, but he did post, I woke up to the day I'm a Laker. I think my hope is his validation and his feeling that way will allow him to go on and do some great things and work within that. And the fact that people would think that they would be pretty much, how should I say, dysfunctional, be all the more reason for them to kind of come together on that. Orlando, I'll just go to you. What do you even think about Patrick Beverley, Russell Westbrook? Do you think the experiment will work?
I think that's an experiment worth trying, at least, because I agree. And at this point, and I'll swing it to the young coach to make sure the young coach, once you get to that level, it's more so managing personalities. And less about coaching. If you can manage those personalities and get an understanding, it could be some great things coming out of that. Yeah. So now, Hoop Ball and Scoop speaks to the contrary. He said they won't work with the Lakers. I think the current Lakers roster isn't scaring anyone. I think the Lakers are a 6th or 7th seed. They still can't shoot. Interesting. What do you say to that, Terry? What do you say to Hoop Ball and Scoop perspective on that?
I agree with him. I think that right now Westbrook.
You hear that? Hoop Ball and Scoop. Hold on for a second. You got an agreement here. So this is September 1st.
Write it down.
Write it down. Write dates down. And for Pooh, I got a comment. Pooh want to talk about Moneyball. I'm gonna get that up in a second.
I agree. I just feel like Westbrook is a pending trade right now. They're trying to find a trade partner, and I think it might be. I saw a trade that involved like Derrick Rose, Mike Conley, a little 3-team trade. Just to swap guards. Maybe the Jazz go in on Westbrook. I mean, it's a one year left on his contract, so maybe they get him and then dump him the next year. But I just feel like right now, because the Lakers are talking about getting Dennis Schroeder back. They're happy about how they wanted him back. They want him back to see if he can work again. I think if they want Schroeder, I think they're waiting for Westbrook to leave. Dennis Schroeder has talked about his interest in coming back to LA, but you can't get too guard heavy right now because you got Kendrick Nunn coming back too. So I think right now, I don't think it'll work. I think it's a good idea, or it's a good thought process and what we can think and hypothetically thinking. I just don't think it'll work out because, again, personalities, their games don't really fit. Even though Patrick Beverley is willing to take the back seat and change his role and do what works for the team, but I just don't think it looks like that with Westbrook, LeBron, and AD. I think it's going to have to be a trade partner for Westbrook. I mean, there's been a lot of noise saying Westbrook will have a breakout year, this and that. I just don't think it's here with the Lakers, and so I think right now it's a pending trade. It's a long off season. I mean, the league doesn't start until about Halloween, so plenty of time until the season starts for some trades to pop off again.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay with that real quick. Who bought a school? So let me ask y'all, why would you trade Russell Westbrook? Isn't he Hall of Famer? It's crazy. Well, I just wonder the fact that they kept him late last season when everybody thought he was going to be traded. He was having some terrible shooting and whatnot. So do you think it was more so he got kept because there was no real takers out there and that's what's happening, or they're going to try to make that work?
No teams wanted to trade for him. I think that's what it was. I think the value wasn't there. They weren't trending in the right direction.
Wait. So Westbrook is the West Coast Kyrie, like.
I still think Kyrie got some value, though. I think Kyrie has some value this year. I think him coming in, playing the whole year this year, I get, there have been talks that there's a fire that's been lit under his butt to play really well this year. I think the Nets will come back a lot stronger than what most would think. But I just think Westbrook and Kyrie, I think we know what we get with Kyrie. Russell Westbrook is such a big question mark today. And I think he may be a Hall of Famer, but it's not really looking too good. I think him and Kyrie are two different parts in their career. I think we're still we know what we're going to get from Kyrie, an exceptional talent. Westbrook in today's game, I think it's, again, too big of a question mark. You don't know what you're going to get.
I agree.
Yeah, I get it's a lot to see with that. Really quickly, I want to go back. Poos said, and while y'all on basketball, how was Moneyball Pro-Am? My grandpa said it was great, but no star attraction. Yeah, no, Moneyball was great. It was great to have it back, Terry. You were able to get over. We sat down and had a good conversation as well. All the Michigan State guys in there. From a star standpoint, young Cassius Winston popped in for a day. He didn't play. It was different. I think it was really different, but I have to give credit to Desmond and what they did with Holt. Shout out to my guy, Ben Bakken. Shout out to all the staff over at Holt High School. Shout out to the superintendent as well. We got to sit down as well. And also to my guy, AJ, the coach over there as well. It was just a big venue change. You got to think about it. Since the pandemic, we were gone for 2 years. And then to get to that point where we had that venue, and that venue was a great, great venue. Here's someone, I think you know him as well, Orlando coach.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, coach?
What's going on?
Good to you old cats. Hey, we back, man. We back getting ready. I know you are working, getting ready too. I've been seeing your posts. He's moving around, but that's what's been going on. Also, I want to shout out D1 Lex. Says, "What's up, Lindsay? What's up with you? Appreciate you supporting what's going on out here. Let's keep that going." But with that being said, man, there's a lot going on with the NBA. Speaking of LeBron, I take a personal point to just put this photo up right here. I mean, come on, man. If you talk about, quality, family orientated, I mean, how can you be mad at this man? I mean, he got haters, man. And whether they hate on him because he's a guy that, gives their team trouble, man. But how can you be mad at this guy, man? This is your brother right here, all about raising his kids. He's doing all the right things. So with that being said, I just want to shout out LeBron James and what he has going on. Hell, if it don't work out with Russell Westbrook, maybe get Bronny out there real quick. What do you guys think about the idea of Bronny and Bryce being able to play with him to the NBA? Do you see that happening? What'd you say, Terry? I saw that head shaking.
I mean, it's more like a man. Like, I see it. I mean, it's one of those things where LeBron keeps his body so well in shape where nothing is not impossible for him. I think it's just his ability to stay in shape, stay mentally in the game, stay motivated. I think that's the big question, motivation. I think that's what he pointed out when he said, my body is right, in my head and my motivation is still top tier. I think that's really what's going to determine if he plays that long. And I think, man, I don't think he's in it for the pictures and all the nice, cool accolades saying I played with my son. I think he still wants to compete. LeBron is still a competitor. And I believe that his sons, I think Bronny is learning and figuring his game out. I think Bryce is an exceptional talent.
See, Bryce the one that's going to catch you off guard because he's laying in the cut. Probably going to be a traditional big with a different kind of game.
I think he's going to be a big, and he's going to stretch you out and bring you to the perimeter. I mean, his jump shot is nice. His handle looks really well, and he's dunking too. So he's laying it down. I just think that the possibility of it is there because LeBron keeps up on his body, and he kind of does what he wants at this point. I mean, he's on the tail end of his career, and I put that in quotes because we don't know how long this man is going to be.
You know, I want to shout out my guy, Courtney Alexander. That's my guy right there, representing the Chi, Western Michigan University. Jacob's dad, too. Great guy. We got a lot of comments coming in. I'm definitely going to get them. To Rod Wilson's point, he'll finish his career in Cleveland. LeBron will be 45. But here's the thing. You know, LeBron talking about getting his Vegas team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. He's talking about getting his Vegas team. So my thing is this. You know, he's talking about potential being an owner. So it may not even be about him having to have this discussion with other people. And he's like, I'm going to draft Bronny James. Yeah, I'm going to draft my sons if y'all don't try to get him first to trade with him. Chris Terrell, appreciate your comment. He says it will not happen. So by then, LeBron's going to be a role player. Remember, Father Time gets us all. So he's willing to have a reduced role then. You know what? Probably so, maybe. Chris. I mean, I think at the end of the day, his bigger picture is to be able to do it, to say, hey, we are doing that. Player owner, you know, with both boys, you know. And then, okay, here's a big question. Here's $1 million question. And Chris put it out there. And then is Bronny good enough? Don't matter. Very good question. And it can be argued yes or no. And I remember early on, I had to kind of walk back my statements to you, Terry. Remember early on when you were saying, look, man, Bronny's stat line is looking up there. And I'm like, I don't know. But it really don't matter. It don't matter because if he want to get him, he go get him. And I think that's part of what happens with that. Also, too, shout out to Courtney again. He said he'll be another Haslam for playing with his kids.
I don't know about Haslam, nah.
Yeah, well, I think
same role. I see that.
Well, he's not. He said I want to play with them. He didn't say I want to win a chip with them. I mean, playing with them can be one season. You know what? I think we take for granted too. People may be thinking about the game, you know, suiting up for the game. But playing with his boys means a 24/7 interaction as a teammate. That's, you know, off season, that's the workouts, that's all these different things just going on, just the role, you know, that's it. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think if anybody can do it, he can do it. That means that Bronny pretty much, all he got to do is play for 3 more years to get Bronny. That means Bronny can have his senior year. Bronny will do 1 year in college. Then that 3rd year, LeBron said, this is my final year. I'm doing a a world tour, a goodbye. And now we have that. So that's that. You guys got anything else you want to add on that? Would be NBA talk if we didn't leave with LeBron James. I want to thank everybody for the comments that they made. We got a few more subjects we're going to hit on, man, as we get through this first show back. I jumped from NBA. Let's go to NFL, man. There's been a lot happening with the NFL, and, I particularly don't want to necessarily just put this as a black mark over what's going on. Black Ivy will, but Deshaun, Watson, man, people ain't really feeling him right now. I mean, he got a sweetheart deal. He got back in. People are mad at, the way the Cleveland Browns did it to where, he would have just been, facing little to no impact on his finances. Now they went back and they did some things with that. And then now people are saying they feel like he's just is, he getting away with murder in the sense that he knows what he's doing. He just set it up, man. I just hope that whatever's going on with him, man, 1, he can get back and he can play to the status of what he once was, and 2, that he can just get things on track, man. I don't know. What's you guys' take on this whole thing with Deshaun Watson? And then, you know what, Terry? You know what, Orlando, I'm going to let you go first because, this is a Cleveland Brown matter, and we got to be reminded that Terry bleeds brown. He don't bleed.
I got my good glasses on. I'm objective today.
So before Terry gives his take, Orlando, what do you think in general about the whole Deshaun Watson piece as we get the NFL going back on again?
It's a mess. What's the name of the show? The SPS Edge. There's some psychological things there that need to be addressed, and to be quite honest, he should be sitting until they are addressed and some clarity. I think what was done, it wasn't enough. It absolutely wasn't enough.
What do you mean you say it wasn't enough?
But
his penalty.
His penalty. Yeah, his penalties weren't enough. He should be sitting the entire year.
Yeah.
It's or if not sitting in somebody's jail. At this point, we have to stop rewarding that type of behavior.
Well, but here's the thing I'll say. I don't disagree with that. And to Hoop Ball the Scoop, he cut right to it. One question, y'all are all those ladies lying? Man, what he had was how many people was it? 20 plus?
24.
24,
cuz?
24.
Well, maybe 22 of them was lying. No,
no. Well, hold on. What he paid off 23 of them. Cashed them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Charles came with the same thing. Y'all think the lady's telling the truth? I don't know, man. Well, what they told me, Terry, and I know you probably had this information too. I shouldn't say what they told me. What I remember hearing is he had a very unorthodox style. And in most cases, what happens is you get one masseuse that you rock with,
right?
That you deal with. He would go on IG, Instagram, and DM women, and he was building relationships like that going. You have something to add, Orlando?
I didn't want to throw the comparison. I wanted to throw in the comparison to Bill Cosby. There's a method. There's a frame of mind during that whole Bill Cosby thing. It was a thing with the drinking. You right on it. Now it's the IG, the different massage. It's a mess.
That's the conduit. It's a conduit that one could argue like, okay, it is what it is, but you get caught up. You see what happens. Shout out to Terry McCoy C. He says, amazing. Watson will be able to play versus Houston game 12.
Yeah.
You wonder if that was concocted. They looked at that schedule and said, man, we got to make that happen.
Yeah, it was some sarcasm with that comment. I already know. Like amazing. He could play game 12 against Houston.
Yeah, right. He said, huh. No, I see it. He said with the face on that, huh. Now, Terry, you did good. We was able to sit there and talk about your Cleveland Brown and Deshaun Watson and what's going on. Now, please share with me your thoughts on what's happening. But before we do that, Charles says, so y'all saying he was giving and getting a happy ending. Yeah, man, he had a lot going on. He was living the life. He's certified. He blue check. He get into them DMs. He said, I'm going to pay y'all, but it's something that came with that. And now those 22 plus, those 24 women have had a story to tell. But Terry, tell me your thoughts on that. And I know that you're not going to be overly biased because of you, Cleveland Brown through and through. But what's your thoughts?
It's just a tough situation. Again, I think we all know it's a gray area right now. And I think just looking at them, I think it's very important we take every single case seriously. I mean, these are strong accusations that that we're seeing right now, where it's like, are they telling the truth? Are they not? But I've come to the conclusion of like the only people know that really happened was Deshaun and those ladies. So it's like it's kind of ladies. Yeah, if you so it's just right now where it's hard to figure it out because he hasn't been convicted yet. There have been. It's not like it didn't pass to go to like. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it hasn't passed to go to like sit in front of a judge and actually have like a trial. So it's so hard. For me, it's like if Deshaun wasn't like deemed guilty or anything like that, which is so tough because you look at the status, like should he been in a position to be determined guilty or non-guilty instead of doing how he did it. But it's like he hasn't been convicted guilty. Should he still be suspended? I think he should still be suspended. Even though he wasn't deemed guilty, I think he should still be suspended because there's a way you can
suspended for what? For what's the rationale? For
I think the NFL is kind of right with the whole
preponderance of evidence, all the evidence you gathered.
I think not even just the evidence. I think it's a code of conduct and how you hold yourself. And I'm not trying to be funny or be light of it, but so what are you saying that he did wrong? He should have been suspended for. I think it's just the way you handle it, because I think for right now it's a ton of things that just happened. I do think that the way he handled it, because it wasn't deemed true or not true. I think because you're in this situation, because there's a bunch of people, saying that you did this. These ladies are saying he did it 24. I think the accusations, because they weren't deemed true or not true, because you don't like Orlando said, you don't want to reward it. I thought the 8-game, my number was 8. I think it should have been an 8-game suspension, miss half the year.
Half the season, yep.
Just because you don't know if it's true or wasn't true. but that doesn't mean you don't take it serious still. And it could have been something that they could have took their time, and hopefully the investigation was done thoroughly. So it's a hard situation because, again, it wasn't proven true or not true. But again, it's like, how do you punish someone for something that hasn't been proven? But it could be some privilege, athlete privilege in that, which, I mean, that's something that needs to be talked about.
Good. Orlando, what do you
But
want to add?
But how can you do a true investigation when he has made settlement agreements with 23 out of the 24 with non-disclosure agreements?
The NDOs, yeah, non-disclosure.
You just don't. He's just not giving away.
That's not
that
consistent
money.
with somebody who doesn't have anything to hide. Also,
Right.
Roderick says, I know he's not worth a 245 guarantee regardless. I think Terry would disagree with that. And also, too, Terry McCord says, do y'all know the National Massage Therapy Convention was in Cleveland last weekend? Said, wow. Hey, Terry is lining them up today. I do want to add one thing, though, and this is not a defense per se, but, when Ben Roethlisberger was accused of rape, he got off, but they said the documentation was very bad. They said that it was people in the league that was really pissed with him. They talked about the woman and the physical marks that she had and all these things that led one to believe it was that, but he ended up getting off. So you use a term, Terry, that it didn't get by me. I heard it. You said athlete privilege. And let's be honest, man, right now, and sometimes that is ironic how that sometimes can transcend race. Because they're like, look, dude, you worth, a $250 million. As far as we got a $250 million investment in you, our lawyers stay down. What Jay-Z say on God did, I got lawyers like shooters. You know what I'm saying? They say, hey, we're going to make this happen to protect our investment and go from there. And it's sad because I think sometimes sports makes us, deal with these other ethical questions. Here we go again, Orlando. We were just talking about Brittany Griner and politics. And now here we go talking about, another level of politics that's not just dealing with who's the best player on the team, who can win the game. So the question to you, Terry, do you think this is going to hang over the Cleveland Browns for this year? What do you see the Cleveland Browns outcome being? I know it's a tough question for you as a huge Brown fan. What do you see their season? Just give me, what do you think their record end up being at the end of the season?
With Deshaun being out and how difficult their division is, when Deshaun gets back, it'd be 11 games. I have them about at maybe 6-5, honestly, or 5-6. I mean, it's low, and it could easily be like 8-3, just because we have a great defense. Nick Chubb is still our running back. Our receivers is where I'm kind of not the most excited about, because you got Amari Cooper, great receiver, and that's about it. Anthony Schwartz has not really shown that he can catch the ball consistently in the preseason. You got to be able to catch the ball in any season. You're a wide receiver. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a great down the field threat, but I think as far as running routes and being a consistent route runner, I think he struggles with that and is still trying to find his way and being always available instead of just deep routes. So I think their team and their struggles minimize, quarterback play. Jacoby Brissett, is he going to be the guy that leads them through? Joshua Dobbs had a great preseason, so maybe he gets some reps in there. We don't know. So I think right now they're about 6-5, and if Watson comes back and he does what the organization thinks that he'll do, maybe they have a playoff run in the sense of like trying to make the playoffs. I do think this year they'll be a little short just because missing 11 games out of 18 is a hard stretch. And to get a guy acclimated back into playing football, it's a hard ask. And so I think that with that being said, I think that they're going to be, about 6-5 and then maybe finish the year maybe below 500 or may even be a few games above 500. But I think they're in it for the long haul, which is why they signed up that large extension.
Yeah.
Terry, do you think he'll actually be able to really be of any use to them? He's banned from the facilities until November.
Yeah. And I think that's the part where I think that they'll finish below. I think Deshaun Watson is a very talented quarterback, no matter what. I think the way he elevates guys with ball placement and leadership on the field as far as his play and his voice on the field, I think he'll elevate this team. But this team still is really good. There's just a few very important holes that make or break your season. It's a passing league. Your receivers aren't looking very good in the receiver room. So that's something that, can impact your record. Your quarterback room isn't the best with Deshaun not being in there. Injuries have always hurt the DBs throughout the year. Denzel Ward misses games here and there. Greedy Williams is finally on there. And Greg Newsome is looking better. So they do hit the injury bug a lot. But I think that with Deshaun, I think he's going to find a way to, of course, stay around the game and get workouts in. But there's nothing different than real game experience. And it's a hard ask to bring a guy back and make that incredible playoff run. I can't say it's impossible, but it's just a very hard ask, especially with that division and who they have on their schedule.
Well, to Terry McCord's point, he says, would you play him this year if they were 9-2 or 8-3? Been out almost 2 years. I'll just add, I think the argument would be, let's get him out there to get him some game experience no matter what. It probably wouldn't be playing an entire game. It's almost like it'll be his preseason if the record is like that. But 9-2, 8-3, no, they probably want to keep it together where they can have some success. But I don't know how likely that would be. They'll have that kind of record by the time he comes back. But we'll see. And please don't let them have that record, because Pooh and Hoop Ball and Scoop be talking to us about football at that point and what's going on. What we going to do with the time we have, man, we're going to talk a little NCAA football. I mean, there's a whole lot to talk about with that, obviously, but I do want to just say, tomorrow Michigan State is going to be hosting my alma mater, Western Michigan University. They're going to be up here. And, of course, Michigan's going to be getting things underway pretty soon as well. So my question to you guys is, who's going to have the better season in the state of Michigan? Will it be Michigan State and Mel Tucker, or will it be Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines?
Ooh.
I'll take it first. I think I feel like Michigan, I think their schedule is very favorable this year. I mean, they have Ohio State on the road.
Let me say for the record, Mr. Wilson said, time for the savant. He's referring to Terry McCord right there. Let's get him front and center right now.
I mean, I feel like right now Michigan has a very favorable schedule. They got to go at Ohio State at the end of the year, but they have Michigan State and Penn State at home this year. Their non-conference schedule is very weak. I think that they're set up to do better because Michigan State does have Ohio State at home, which helps them a little bit. But they have to go at Penn State and at Michigan State. I only highlight those games because I think those are huge indicators on what your season will be. If you can beat Michigan State, if you can beat 2 out of the 3, you're looking at a New Year's Six bowl, in my opinion. If you win the rest of your games and say Michigan State beats Ohio State and beats Penn State and loses to Michigan, you're still looking at a New Year's Six bowl. Just because that loss to Michigan usually means that Michigan is probably going to win the Big Ten, because the West, other than Wisconsin, I watched the Northwestern and Nebraska game. I hear a lot of analysts talking about Nebraska is going to come out the West. I didn't see any of that on the field.
Especially when the coach is throwing the coordinators under the bus in the press conference. My goodness.
I mean, Scott Frost they said stick a fork in him, he's done. I mean, I agree with that. But in the West, you can just about pick anybody to have a chance, but the East is going to come out on top. So, but my heart is with Sparty, and I'm not saying that because I'm biased. I truly believe that there are a lot of holes on both sides. I mean, the secondary for Michigan State was non-existent last year. Michigan, they lose a lot. I mean, you lose Daxton Hill, you lose your D coordinator, you lose your edge rushers. But I mean, the linebacking core of Michigan is pretty good. Your wideouts are looking good, and they're getting Ronnie Bell back and Drill, hopefully better this year. AJ Henning looking good, Blake Corum. So I mean, their skill positions are good, but I feel like Michigan State is about a mirror image. I mean, they got the 2 transfer running backs coming in, Jaden Reed, who I think is probably maybe the best player in the state of Michigan. I think he's the best player out of Michigan. I think he's the best player in both teams. Jaden Reed is a great football player. I think he'll prove why this year. And Peyton Thorne, I believe, has a chance to be better than McNamara and McCarthy. He just has to stay healthy and make the right decisions. Don't make the game harder than what it needs to be. And I just think Michigan State checks off more boxes to me, and I feel more comfortable saying that right now Michigan State will have a better year. But they have
they'll have a better record.
I think they'll have a better record, but I think they'll have a tougher
what will be Michigan State's final game of the season? What will be Michigan's final game of the season?
As far as like record or who?
No, what game will they be playing in? What will be their last game of the season? Where will they be playing? Will it be a bowl game? Will it be the Big Ten championship? I mean, I'm sure they are going to get a bowl, if you will. But I guess I really want to go to even beyond that question, and then also for the records, Roderick says trash. Talking about Scott Frost, right? Here's the thing, man. Is the Michigan State game getting as intense as the Michigan Ohio State game?
No, never.
But it's been 2 seasons in a row they've taken the L.
Never.
How important is this right now? Never. I get that. Never. I'm not trying to be blasphemous. I get it. When you go in Michigan's locker room, they have a big in their locker room. It's in their weight room. It says, "What are you doing to beat Ohio State?" I get that.
You beat them once, and you figure this out. It's weird.
Lance, I think that's the issue. I think the in-state rivalry is more important to Michigan State than it is to Michigan.
Michigan said in other words, you say I'll drop a game to Michigan State if I can play if I can make it to the playoffs.
I think Mel Tucker takes the rivalry with Harbaugh, and I think Orlando's right on this. I think Tucker takes the rivalry more serious with Harbaugh than he does with Ryan Day. I think a lot of it is the recruiting.
But that's not a direct rivalry though. Michigan State, Ohio State, like
it was with D'Antonio though, because D'Antonio had that rivalry with Ohio State, and he got a lot of players from Ohio. So I think that part is a little that was more the rivalry. But I just feel like right now Tucker, I think Harbaugh's eyes are on the national championship game, which I don't know why. He has one successful year and gets to there one time.
hey, that's that Buckeye talking right there, man.
It just amazes me how they just they got ranked at 8, which I think is a very generous rating, in my opinion. To be ranked 8, I think is great. You lose a lot. You lost 2 coordinators, your stars on defense, and you don't know who your starting quarterback is in week 1. Now you want to go McNamara first, then McCarthy. You're gonna do the 2 quarterback thing again. It's when you have an offense doing that and not clear on what their identity is, it's really hard to help your defense out. Because now your defense, you don't have the Aiden Hutchinsons and David Ajabos and Daxton Hill. You don't have that anymore. So now you really need to be solid on both sides of the ball.
To your point, you got a Big Ten championship team. And when you have a team that's successful, in most cases, they're veteran-laden, they're veteran-led, and those guys transition. So when you have a lot of success, and Coach Orlando Watkins knows about that. It works its way back around. Shout out to my mom. She said, hey, Michigan Wolverines absolutely hate Ohio State. We know that to be the case.
And Michigan is still a great team. Don't get me wrong. Michigan is still a great team. I just feel like right now State checks off more boxes. Now, granted, it could change in week 5 or 6 where Michigan has proved me wrong and has shown that no matter the inexperience, they're a great team. I will say I was wrong. I still have them losing to Ohio State, though, so don't get that switched. But I'm just saying, I feel like right now,
Orlando, you see how he made sure
man. He had to
make sure y'all know that. I'm not going to agree to. I'm not
you got a teleprompter or something over there, Terry? You got a teleprompter that say, "Hey, talk to trash."
Well, I got to be in Ohio State country this weekend. I'm going to MSU Western Michigan game tomorrow. And I'm going to Ohio State Notre Dame, which is going to be absolutely electric on Saturday.
You sitting in the president's box when you go to the game tomorrow?
Man, my dad told me we're going to be in the bleeds. We're going to the shoe. We're going to be in the bleeds.
That's going to be cool. That's going to be cool. Well, listen, Terry, I know I'm pretty sure you got your finger on the trigger for some more collegiate stuff, but for the sake of time, can we hold off on any further collegiate football? Want to get a little high school football going on with the sake of time. Then when we come back next week, we can give you your time for a full review. Is that okay?
The only one thing I got to add real quick.
Please do.
With UCLA and Washington looking to join the Big Ten, I got to shout out my guy, Patrick Sauer. He said NCAA football may surely turn into a two major conferences, and that'll be it. A little AFC and NFC kind of action, because there's a lot of teams looking to go to the Big Ten, some joining the SEC. So I feel like SEC and Big Ten may be a little NFC and AFC as the 2 major conferences.
It's definitely a rush to find out, to not get left out as it relates to the money being spent.
Yeah.
Because the question is, you don't want to be left out with what's going on with that.
Right.
So that's good. So let's put a pin in football. We got to talk about this, the state of Michigan. I think that's a good way to start it off as we get ready for football. But also, I do want to mention what's happening locally with MHSA and football going on here in the state of Michigan. I'm going to be down at Muskegon versus Warren De La Salle. It's going to be over at Lawrence Tech University. They've just started their football program the last few years. Unfortunately, last week there was a cross conference game in the sense that Southfield, led by Isaiah Marshall, I like that young man. This young man had like 8 touchdowns. A great young man. Shout out to his dad, Brian Marshall. Shout out to the Southfield coaching staff. Some of my brothers over there on the Southfield football coaching staff. Against Cass Tech, shout out to Marvin Russian, the coach over there. I had a chance to sit down with a lot of guys over at Cass not too long ago, just about all their team. We had some great interviews you can see on the SPS Edge YouTube show. But unfortunately, that game had to be moved to a Saturday because of parents behaving badly. As Orlando stated, and I was informed as well, there were multiple fights going on when the officials tried to just vacate the stadium so the game could resume. They wouldn't leave. And, man, enough is enough. Since we've been out, there was a tragedy with a coach with Detroit roots. I can't say his name. I'll make sure I look it up, who lost his life as well. These parents behaving badly. I just do not know what to say. And it's the irony of it, and Orlando would know about this just being a Detroiter. Hell, the funniest thing is Cass and Southfield have historically been known for being the schools that weren't violent. Got Cass Tech known for being some of the, top, and I know everybody is saying and rolling their eyes, that don't mean nothing, but I'm just saying, to be able to say that it was Cass and Southfield that had this fight, it was like, what? If somebody would have said some other school, and I'm not going to disparage anybody's school by using their name as an example, but you could have said 30 other schools, Orlando. You're like, yeah, I get it. But you say Cass and Southfield, you're like, that's like saying, go ahead.
Right. The thing you have to clarify and make it very, very clear,
please.
It's not the student athletes.
No, it's not.
The parents.
It's the parents. No. You're absolutely right. You're right, and I don't know what the deal is, man. And let me tell you something. It ain't nothing like a father that's gonna promote their son or daughter in sports. I get that, especially in my role, whether it's the media, sports psychology, whatever it may be. I get that, but my goodness, when it gets to the point to where it spills over, that you can't even go and have a matchup, and when it was a great game, the final score ended up being like 54-56. It was an amazing game. Oh, yeah. They got down. To where you can't even get to that point. But they had to do that minus the parents being there. And because of the way you were acting, you couldn't even be there to support your kid. And you can't justify that. Now, if this is some old – now I have to put my ear to the ground, Lando. We have to work on, checking with our sources to kind of find out what was really popping, what that originated at. But to be honest, man, no matter what it is, no excuse for that. And then, the last thing I'll add too, before we start talking about this Warren De La Salle and Muskegon matchup is y'all hurting the kids.
Right.
You got scouts, and I know a scout will be willing to do whatever they can to get a kid that can help their program be successful. But the flip side of it is, do I want that? Shout out to the rapper Plies, who went on social media several weeks ago, and he talked about, tired of these players coming to these people's campuses, as he said, bringing the hood and bringing the thuggery to the campus. And it's like, I don't want to say it sound like some, staunch conservative, but it's like we trying to get away from that. And y'all bring that up here. Yeah. And these parents who are continuing to perpetuate that, and I get it all the time when I have parents who want their children to be promoted and all that, like, y'all the problem. And it's just sad. It's unacceptable. And we've seen losses of life. We've seen all these things. And I just think that people just really get it twisted, Terry, Orlando. They really get it confused to think that this so-called commitment you had to your kid that puts you in a position where you out there fighting. I mean, it should almost be, because my son or daughter is an athlete here, I will not get into a fight.
Right.
Because my son or daughter is trying to go to the next level, I'll be an example of what not to do. Because to be honest, you know why you don't have fights in college? Because them kids don't get recruited to go. So them folks can't even go. That's the last thing. I don't know, Terry, what do you think about all that? What do you think, Terry, and Orlando as well?
I think you brought it up. I think the fact that scouts recruit, they understand you recruit the athlete and you also recruit the athlete's support system. And so I think that goes a long way. And I think, with obviously you want the athlete, but if it creates a headache to bring the family and they always constantly get involved with everything, and it can cause a problem. And scouts know that, and they understand that that's their job to bring in players that will suit the program. They're not willing to risk their job or their program for you that bad. Like, they're not. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where even here in the city, in Lansing, all of the city teams play each other. The start time is at 5 p.m. I mean, right at the end of the workday.
Orlando was talking about that too, the times being moved back. We'll talk about that. You saying what now?
Like, it just shows, man. It's just the behaviors. I mean, we're complaining about start times, but it's just the way y'all are acting. It's like you want to be able to have good character, come to a game, chill, support your team. But the moment you make the spotlight about you and my pride and who I am, oh, you don't know me, it's not about you right now. It's about it's about the school, and it's about being there for your kid. That's not being there for your kid where you're jeopardizing you not being able to come and show up for your kid because you want to be out here and fighting. So it just shows, so people are putting their pride. That was a problem with Little League football. I mean, Little League football, they threatening the ref, want to fight the ref. AAU games, they want to fight the referees. It's like, man, when is this? It is not that big of a deal. It is just a game. Yes, this game is important. It could change your son or daughter's life, but at no point is it to risk, your criminal record, because now people are being charged for stuff like this. So your criminal record, and you're not being able to come and support your son or daughter's, games anymore or their sport anymore. So I think people need to really think about their actions. And I'm not going to say the young man's name, but I broke up a fight at Eastern, and the dude was 16 years old. And I told him, look, man, the police are starting to come. You don't want to ruin this. You don't want to ruin your life because of this moment. You're 16. Don't do that. It's not worth it. I say it to the parents. It's not worth it. It's not worth ruining for other people as well. It's not worth it. Just leave it alone. It's a football game at the end of the day.
Yeah. Orlando, you had mentioned offline, talking about, those changes in start times and how all these different, changes are having to be made, to kind of lessen the impact, poor behavior can have. What do you think about that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm noticing a lot more later start times, at least here in the Detroit area, of these football games. And I get it. The parents have complained, look, you having these 4 o'clock games. I got to work. I don't have time to see my own child play. I understand that.
Right.
But the later start time, but the later start times are not only allowing the parents to get off work and get to the game, it's allowing the parents to stop at the bar before the game, to stop at the dispensary before they go to the game. Because I'm telling you, the last couple of football games I went to, I caught a contact high sitting there watching the game.
And my thought is it can't be the players doing it because they playing.
Can't be the players.
Well, also too, and let me add this part. This is universal. Where we're not talking about race or socioeconomic status. And I think that's what's really interesting. And the reason I'll mention this before we go to this last topic with De La Salle and Muskegon is that I'm wondering if this is impacted by social media. And like Terry was saying, this desire for their kids to be the best. And social media has provided this opportunity where you can almost measure it, because you can measure it on a micro level. Yeah, it's not the NFL, it's not ESPN, but it's the SPS Edge. It's, some local place that's put on social media. And I just really wonder, man, because it's not just inner city parents. No. It's suburbanites. It's soccer moms. It's everybody. I mean, you can see at any given time. So it's a bigger, broader issue. I think it speaks to a lot of the insecurity that these parents are having, thinking, what if Johnny make it to the NFL, I'll be living on on easy road. It just is not like that, man. It's not like that.
I'm telling you right now, Lindsay, that's the reason. A lot of people ask me why I coach girls basketball. One, my father was a boys coach, local legend. I never wanted to be compared, but I had the opportunity to coach boys middle school. And every kid on my team, their parent thought that they were going to be the next LeBron. Wow. Or the next Jordan. Let me step back. The next Jordan.
Right.
So that push,
Yeah.
that effort, and just even dealing with them on that level, or why isn't he playing, or why isn't that, was absolutely ridiculous. I moved to girls. Now it happens in girls, but not as much.
Sure.
Every parent in the stands is thinking that their kid is going Division I, and then on to a pro team.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna
Every
be on easy
single one.
street. I've been telling my babies
Right.
since they've been little, you go buy me a house. Well, with that being said, people who do have a chance to go on, you want to talk about some great programs. We want to talk about the SPS Edge and the road to Ford Field. I'll be at Lawrence Tech, scene of the crime, if you will, tomorrow evening, 7:30 start game, when Warren De La Salle will be hosting the Muskegon Big Reds. I did not know this. I will admit it right now. Warren De La Salle, coming off their state championships in both football and basketball. Shout out to my guy Tristan Nichols and all the other players who were part of both of that over at Warren De La Salle. But I didn't know this, guys, that Muskegon is the most winning football program in the state of Michigan. I didn't know it.
Wow. They do have a rich history. They do.
Yeah, they have a very rich history. Shout out to my guy, Coach Keith Guy. He's the basketball coach. Ran into my guy, Coach Guy, when I was out in Vegas, as a matter of fact. Good dude. Shout out to the football program. I was in Muskegon. They hosted a showcase, a while ago, and I was able to go up there, and it's nothing but love. That's a very, very rich community. But I'm looking forward to this, kicking this off, starting now and all the way into the end of the football season. I'll be spending both the day after Thanksgiving and 2 days after Thanksgiving, those 2 days for the MHSA finals at Ford Field. SPS will be in the building. Sponsorship is still available. But I look forward to getting over here. I think right now, all the money is on De La Salle, at least for this game, them being ranked number 1 in the state right now and going up against a Muskegon team. I don't know that De La Salle lost a lot of people going forward, but just in generally speaking, I think De La Salle may have the edge. But what do you guys think about this matchup, and just as we get kind of kick off things for this this new football season in high school?
Man, I really enjoy the fact that you can buy tickets on the app now, the GoFan app. I love that addition to it. But as far as the game you're talking about specifically, I think with Muskegon, I think with any high school sports, and I saw that with the way Waverly beat Lansing Catholic last Wednesday.
I know. What an upset.
Yeah, it's like any game is, any upset is possible. So, I mean, if Muskegon pulls it off, I mean, with that rich history and being prepared and ready to go in big games like this, I wouldn't be surprised. These are still high schoolers, and that was one of my biggest motivations. These are still 16-year-old kids. These are still 17-year-old kids. So any day, maybe have a bad day at school or all these kind of exterior factors, that could lead to a win. That's all I'm going to tell my girls. Like, these are still girls that have to play and shoot the same shots that you shoot. Continue to do what you do, play your game. And I saw that with Waverly. Waverly, I wouldn't say Waverly was the better team. Like, I think they have a great potential this upcoming year. They executed all 4 quarters. I think towards the end, they kind of let off the gas, but they executed all 4. And that's the difference in high school. If you can execute all 4 quarters and play your brand of football, the winning formula for your team, that's how you win games. And Waverly did that. They have great potential to be a great team. I think if they continue to do that, just like with Muskegon, maybe they'll do that. Warren De La Salle, like maybe they'll do that because they're a great team. But really, it's just execution at this level and just commitment and motivation to want to put out your best output in games. So any upset is possible, and I'm excited for more to come.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to getting down there on the sidelines, man, and bringing the updates as well as the post-game interviews. A few more games that SPS will be covering on the road to Ford Field include in 2 weeks, Cass versus King. That's going to be huge. King, defending state champion. 2 weeks after that, it'll be DeWitt, another defending state champion, versus a Grand Ledge. And then after that, there's a chance I can catch some Southfield, West Bloomfield, but Western Michigan, we having our homecoming. I got to go kick it with the bros, have a good time. So I probably better make it that weekend. But then after that, it will be to be determined based on the games that are out there. And I'll just try to focus on the highest ranked teams to be able to bring out the most competitive experience. So with that, guys, we're pushing on a hard hour and a half of just to get back show,
Yeah.
get back with everybody. Got a couple comments real quick I want to check out. Roderick says Muskegon runs and executes that option offense that gives everybody trouble. Oh, yeah, they're not going to be giving up. Then someone also says, it's a Facebook user, how about Lansing JW section? I know they had a really good game.
Solid defense every year. Solid defense. On offense, they're explosive. I saw them play against Everett. That running back Douglas and DQ at quarterback. I mean, hard running attack. You got to be able to stop the run if you want to think about beating them.
Yeah, if people want to get some more information on section, I was able to go spend some time with Coach Davis and the team a few weeks ago, as well as going over to Everett. So go to SPS Edge on YouTube. You can pull that up. And lastly, Roderick Wilson says, check out Operation Flagrant Foul on Netflix. Ooh. Good watch. I'm not familiar. I will check it out. So with that being said,
that was gonna be my post show watch.
Okay. Well, that's cool. We're gonna be doing it remotely. I'm gonna look at the same thing too. So with that, guys, so happy to be back with you guys. I appreciate the energy. I want to thank everybody for their comments and what's going on. We are back. We appreciate the love. We got a great thing going here, and we'll see you guys next week. So with that, take care. Peace.